last week I did a video on the Sony A6700 and the Sony A7C, but another common question that I get is the 6700 versus the A7 III, and I think this is a great comparison, but it will be sort of similar to that video as well. So if you watch that video, maybe that was a spoiler, but let's just jump right into the video. Now, these are two different cameras that do cater to slightly different audiences, and there's nothing wrong with deciding to go with either of these cameras because I think both cameras are great cameras. I have used both cameras and I really enjoy both of them. I definitely have a little bit of nostalgia for the A7 III because it was my second Sony camera ever, and I don't know, there's something about, when you use a camera for like over 4 years that you kind of just get this weird attachment to it. I don't know if that's just me. But anyways, the A7 III has a 24 megapixel sensor and the A6700 has a 26 megapixel sensor. The size of the sensor isn't actually the biggest factor because even though the A7 III has a smaller sensor, it still provides better low light performance, it has better dynamic range, and it has a more controllable depth of field. When it comes to autofocus for these two cameras, the Sony A6700 is going to be the better option here. Because it's newer technology, it actually has AI-powered autofocus with 759 phase detection points. Compare that to the A7 III, it only has 693 detection points and no AI. This doesn't mean that the A7 III is going to lose focus all the time because it definitely doesn't. It still keeps focus pretty well, but the A6700 is going to hold that focus better than the A7 III. As far as video quality, the A6700 shoots 4K at 120 frames per second. It shoots 10-bit 422, and it also shoots S-Log and Cinetone. The Sony A7 III is going to be a little bit different than that. It does shoot 4K, but it only shoots at 30 frames per second, and it only shoots 8-bit at 420. It also shoots in S-Log 3 and in S-Cinetone. When it comes to stabilization, both of these cameras have a really solid internal stabilization system, but because the A6700 is a newer model, that image stabilization is more refined because it's a newer camera. It has the new processors and it has the new tech inside of it. So it will perform better in this as well. With lens compatibility, it's kind of weird comparing an APS-C lens with a full frame lens just because, honestly, in my opinion, Sony makes the best glass in the entire world for full frame lenses, where APS-C lenses are decent, but they're not going to give you that same quality or that same durability as like the Sony G Master lenses. The one thing that you do have to think about though with this is generally APS-C lenses are cheaper than full frame lenses. So there is that. The A6700 is going to be way smaller than the A7 III. The A7 III is a pretty, bulky-ish body compared to pretty much any APS-C camera, but especially the A6700. The A6700 is a super nice ergonomic body that honestly just fits in your hand really smoothly. The A7 III is certainly going to have a longer battery life, but it's that trade-off between size and power. If you want more power, generally you're going to need a bigger camera. I don't think the trade-off is too terrible though. Generally the A6700 gets around 570 shots per battery, where the A7 III gets around 710. So the difference isn't insane, but there is a difference there. Now let's talk about probably the reason you actually clicked on the video, which is the price. There's not a crazy price difference between these two cameras. The A7 III generally goes for around $1,200, and the A6700 generally goes for around like $1,400. I have seen it for a little bit cheaper on some websites, but it is kind of hard to find those deals. Now, because of this, I think the main point to focus on, instead of just sheerly price, is to say that both of these cameras are pretty great. It really just depends on what you're trying to use each camera for. For example, if you want to just typically make vlogs, shoot videos like this, some indoor stuff, some outdoor stuff, maybe grab some footage and some shots on travels and stuff like that, I highly recommend the A6700. But if you're a hardcore photographer, you really only want to take stills, you really just want to master the art of photography, and you want the ability to buy the best possible glass on the market, then I highly recommend the A7 III. The A7 III also has the ability to capture some really decent footage as well if you want to. But if your primary focus is just video and you just want to make videos and videos and videos, then I would just get the A6700, because then you have the ability to shoot in 120 frames per second and you have the ability to shoot in 10-bit. The A6700, if you're looking at it just on paper, it looks like the way better option. But again, it's kind of all circumstantial and it's kind of all about just what you want to use your camera for. It's honestly tough for me to say which one is better because they are both so similar and because they can be used for so many different things. But at the end of the day, all I really hope is this video helped you make a better informed decision on which camera to buy. So if you do have any more questions about either of these two cameras, please leave those questions down in the comments below. I try to respond to all questions that I get in the comments. Anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.